All right, Jonathan Jamison. Hey, man, tell me how that event, for lack of a better expression, the housewarming event went.
It went okay. It didn't go as well as I kind of envisioned. I think probably because it was kind of like last minute. I was super excited to get those keys and just wanted to let the like my close support system know to kind of show up and see the space. So a few people showed up, and then it was pretty much sporadically throughout the day. Like it was like I
Okay.
think something like 3 to 6 p.m. or something like that, and then so people were showing up like throughout that time. But it was good, well received. They were super excited. So yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Who did any of your investors show up for you?
Yes, one did
Cool.
show up. And then some also like some of my partners as far as like working with my nonprofit showed up as well. So yeah, it was cool. It was cool.
You plan on doing another?
Yeah, I probably do another one after this first phase of the build out is done. I think like my uh like now I'm just like in grind mode, like I was like super excited to get that key and I wanted to share that experience with the people that showed up. Now it's like, all right, this is just the beginning of it. So that excitement is kind of gone now.
Okay. Yeah, it's back to work and work, nothing but
Right,
work. Right.
exactly.
So let's start from the beginning, man. You're sitting at the Chick-fil-A in Rocky River having a lunch, and what happened?
And I looked across the street and it was this handsome gentleman on the side of the
Yeah.
building. And I reached out to you and wanted to see about acquiring this building that was across the street from to Chick-fil-A. Remind me, what area is that again, Jonathan? That
That
was
was in
that was
Rocky
in?
River, Ohio.
Rocky River, yep. So Rocky River, and I'm like, dang, like this spot would be perfect for to build out, Bank One Billiard Studio and have the show here, because it was just such a high traffic area, and any type of commercial or retail space that you can think of was in that area, and I'm like, this would
Mhm.
be a gold mine. So long story short, that building didn't work out, but you and I relationship over a year now has grown tremendously from just seeing that open commercial space in Rocky River to fast forward now, all the work that we did to acquire the Slavic Village building. It was definitely a learning lesson, and super excited. And yeah, it was a lot. It was like a lot of back and forth. It was a lot of back and forth, and but learned a lot through this process. And I know for sure the next time will be much easy. I would say much easier, but also other problems may arise that I haven't experienced. But just going in for this being my first time getting a commercial space, it was a challenge for sure.
Well, and so your first time being in a commercial space, but as you're sitting there in that Chick-fil-A and you're looking out across the street at that building, you know, I think what's important for people to know is like how many other buildings had you checked out? Like how deep into the commercial real estate world had you gotten at that point?
That building that I seen in Rocky River was the first building that I seen.
Right. So
I'm not even gonna
you're
lie.
sitting there
Yeah.
in the Chick-fil-A and you're looking at that building, and all of a sudden, like this thing starts to come to life in your mind. And you start to see this thing unfold for you and what needs to happen. I mean, obviously you had thought about it previously, but sitting there looking at that building, things really started to germinate. And then we started working together. And I mean, how long we were so we looked at a number of places, but once you walked into your building there on Fleet Ave in Slavic Village, you kind of knew that that was the spot. And you, you know, even from that point though, like it's just amazing how far and how much it took, right? So,
Mm.
you have an idea as we walk into Slavic Village about what's about to happen, but you know, what was the reality of it more like? Like I know there were plenty of surprises, and it was there was a whole lot more that went into it. I mean, in a way, I feel we were very blessed because were into that spot from day one, but we negotiated and you worked for over a year until we were finally in there. So name some of the surprises, man. You know, when it came to getting into that first commercial real estate deal, what were some of the things that you totally didn't expect that came out of the blue to put you to more work?
Yeah, it was so it's crazy to name what I didn't expect, because this being my first rodeo going through this process, everything was kind of just new to me. And but I can say, like, the one thing that I did not expect, one, was how long it was going to take. Like, I did not think that it was going to take a whole calendar year plus some to actually get into this space. So I definitely would say time. But the other thing was the combativeness of which is now my landlord. But what I learned through that is that he's a business owner as well, and certain things have to be right for him, as well as on my side, to have both of our parties walk away happy. So, just kind of putting myself in his shoes, like, it's like, okay, this space has been empty for quite a number of years. I would just be happy to get somebody in there and not go back and forth. But then again, I have to think, like, okay, I'm thinking from somebody that doesn't come from money, or doesn't, haven't built a multi-million dollar business yet. So the money's not important, as it is someone that has, 5, 6, 7 different revenue streams. So it was just interesting to see these different type of viewpoints, and to actually go through this process, with you. And I would definitely say another thing that I did not expect was, to actually receive the support that I got from the grant, but also the lack of support from, like, my peers and the people that have supported me along the way, when it comes to this huge commitment of getting a real commercial space. Right? People would say, "Oh yeah, text me, call me anytime you need anything." Like, that's they saying, "Call me if you need anything, call me." Like, you don't know how many
Yep.
times I never heard that. So when it's time to step up to the plate, and and we actually put this plan into action, they're like, "Oh well, I don't know." Everybody taking a step back now. So it's been a lot of surprises, but again, it's been I would not trade this past year and a half for anything. Like, it has made me such a stronger leader, but also a business owner as well. So
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, when you talked about the combativeness of what is now your landlord, one man's combativeness is another man's due diligence, right? And what they made you do, I mean, we went through at least a half dozen letters of intent. Like, we had to negotiate back and forth just on the letter of intent, which, to the folks out there watching who might not know, a letter of intent it's just that. It is not a legally binding agreement. It is simply a summary of the basic terms with which you want to enter into that legally binding agreement that you present to someone else. And we had to negotiate the terms of the letter of intent back and forth at least 6 times. And then when it came down to the actual contract, there was a whole bunch of back and forth on that as well. And I mean, they were using an attorney, you were using an attorney. They tried to get you to, commit to things that we just did not want to see happen. So before we even get into that too, tell the folks here what you're doing. What is Bank One Billiards? What are you going to do out of this space in Slavic Village?
So when I seen the commercial space in Rocky River, Bank One Billiards was just simply a TV show, where I have special guests come on, I interview them, and we play a game of pool. Since then, and being able to acquire this space, me as a business leader, I had to think of other revenue streams besides the streaming dollars and the advertising dollars from the TV show, by having this now commercial space. So fast forward to today, Bank One Billiards is still this TV platform, but we're growing it out to be a billiards arcade, where we're creating technology that will be installed inside of the pool tables so that players can have a better experience playing the game, but also can learn from it. We're creating data tracking and analytics that can be used to better player performances and teach those that never played the sport to get better within a month or two. So this will be the top golf of pool, that we're creating.
That's excellent. But aside from having essentially what's a TV studio in one part, you've got more plans for this building, because one thing that was always in your mind, imperative to your operation, was having a spot where you could have multiple revenue streams coming out of it. So the Billards TV show was one. What else you got going on?
So Billards TV show, we are going to have a food truck model where we'll provide the hospitality and the service, but be able to have a variety of different restaurant owners that have food trucks be a part of our vision as well, and to provide food, for that Slavic village community, different flavors and different types of food on a rotating basis. And then, of course, we're going to have a bar in there. And then we'll be running different programs dealing with the sport of pool, as well as filmmaking out of there as well. So it's a few of them. We have merchandise and all of that stuff. We probably have around 10 to 12 different revenue streams, but those are the big ones. Yeah.
That's excellent. And so one of those terms, the one term where I felt it kind of got a little bit combative, was the current landlord. So if you don't mind me talking about the deal and somewhat of the structure of it, I won't talk numbers, but it's a lease option, right? So Johnathon here he's in this contract where he is going to lease the building from the current landlords, and then have an option to purchase it at a specified price at a specified time. And what the landlords wanted to do was they wanted to maintain the right to sell this building to anybody that came across, as long as the number, the sales number, was the same as or greater than what Johnathon is under contract for. They wanted to be able to just sell it to somebody, anybody. And like, that was a term that you or I couldn't handle it, because, the moment you get in there and you're built out and you have that place filled and in full operation, it immediately is worth significantly more than what the current purchase price is. Right. And so if you are trying to sell to an investor, and, obviously you're in contract, your landlord is an investor. He's got a network of other investors who they could reach out to immediately. And they sat there and told us that they wouldn't advertise and all this. So what? They don't have to advertise publicly. They know enough people between themselves and the broker that we worked with that they could advertise this thing, clandestinely, quietly, invisibly, to a lot of people. And, the thought of you getting in there and putting all the time, the effort, the sweat, the blood, the tears into building this thing out and getting it operating, and for them to turn to one of their investor clients and say, hey, look, we got this fully operational cash flow and building here. You want to buy it, and lose the opportunity that you have worked for to purchase that, was simply untenable. And, I hated the idea. You hated it as well. You put your foot down on it, which I was very grateful that you did. And we got them to concede, and they gave up on that term. So you don't have to worry about that. And that was a big deal, man. That was a big deal. So, the funding piece, like, man, here's what I want to say to the public about this man that you're looking at on the screen with me. I have talked to many would-be investors, entrepreneurs, many people who are, they're talking about these dreams and ideals they got, and they want me to help them do this, or whatever it might be. But most of them, you have this initial conversation or two, and you can just tell from their actions, they're not for real. They're not serious about what it is you're getting into, but yet they still want to demand time and attention. And, Johnathon, like, dude, every step of the way, every piece of work that you did and presented, you then learned of 2 or 3 more that you actually had to do and present. but you kept doing it, man. And, for a year, and that was a major part of that year was you had to go and do the work and create the relationships, solidify deals on the side with grantors, with investors, and this kind of thing. And dude, nothing but kudos to you, man, because you did that work and you stuck with it. You had people disappoint you. You had people who told you they were going to be there for you disappear when it came time to put up or shut up. And you let none of that deter you. You had a vision and you were dead set on achieving it. And when the relationships you counted on in the beginning dissolved, when they walked away, you went and found new ones, man. And I was so thoroughly impressed that I had to stick with you, man, because look, man, you're doing it, dude. You're in the spot. You're in the spot. You put all the work together. You ended up with a number of investors, a number of grantors, and that was probably a quarter of the number that, you approached initially. You had to approach 15 or 20 so to earn 4, right? And how many of those were with you from the very beginning up until the day you got those keys?
Yeah, like probably 90% of them were with me at the beginning, and then up until I got the keys, I would probably count on one hand of
Okay,
how
so
many are
that's what I'm
still
saying.
around.
Like,
Yeah.
of all the people that you talked to, how many were there through the whole process versus how many actually disappeared? So you're saying it's 10% that stuck with you from the beginning to the
That's
end?
stuck with me. Right. Yep.
Okay,
10%.
right.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so,
10%.
for people out there who are watching this, the Jonathan's story is amazing, and this piece is probably, I don't know, it's the thing I want people to hear the most. He set out with a vision. The more he got into it, the more he realized he had to work and work hard. And then he continued to be disappointed by one person after the next in this journey, and never gave up and sought new ones. And in the end, he is on his way to achieving it. So in this build out, you're just starting to get going with it. What has been some of the challenges with the build out phase? I know you're at the very beginning of it, but what are some of the challenges that you've faced right now? You walked into literally a shell of a building. There was nothing there except a couple toilets. Boy, that was it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You
I
had,
was like,
you
they
had a
got a,
couple. Go ahead.
I was saying they got it looked like a new toilet they put in there, and that's all. That's it. That's all the building
That was
came
it.
with.
I mean, they did put together. They tightened up the shell of the building. So Jonathan did go into brand new electric, brand new HVAC, brand new plumbing. However, all the things he's going to need to do to actually operate, Jonathan's going to have to bring in and build out, because, like you said, there was a toilet and a sink, I think, and that was it. That was all the finishes that were in there waiting for him. Aside from that, it was a shell. So, you started the design phase before you got the keys. What were some of the challenges with that design phase? Some of the surprises, some of the challenges that you faced?
Yeah, listen, and to kind of go back to what you said, Jonathan, about the like acquiring the space and going after this commercial building and having this vision. I would definitely would say it all starts with a vision. Like I came into this, seeing that commercial space in Rocky River, like I think that Bank One needs its own place to record out of, and not only that, because you and I were going back like, hey, let's go get somewhere else and lease, because I was going in like I want to have an asset for the company. That was my whole vision. So I think it's definitely important to kind of know what you want and what you see and have this vision and this roadmap. It's not going to be perfect, but have a vision of the overall goal, and don't let nobody change that. I think that's very important. I think that's why I'm here right now, because I was adamant about owning, which I don't own yet, but it's coming in the future. And that was super important for me. So definitely wanted to just to say that. And I also would say, so the build out right now, some challenges are the team, right? Like being able to manage these different moving parts, understanding what a GC is, understanding that the GC has to reach out to 10 different departments to make all of this stuff happen is way beyond my knowledge of, understanding how to construct and build out a retail or commercial space. So understanding the language is something that I'm working on and trying to learn throughout this process of what it actually means to build out this space. They are throwing fit plans at me and sources and uses documents and all of these different things that I have to know about, and I have no clue. All I know
Mhm.
is that I like to play pool and film, right? So it's all of these different things that I'm learning throughout this process, and I think that's like the biggest challenge is but also being, vulnerable and transparent with the team. And, I told them straight up, like, hey, I don't know what you guys are talking about at all.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna let you guys know that I don't know what you're talking about. So I will try my best to follow along, but you will get questions from me as we go throughout this, probably a lot of questions. So, and they appreciated that. I didn't come in like I knew it all or acted like I knew it all. I told them like, hey, I'm good at this, but I'm not good at this. So, the team appreciates that. They stepped up and did the fit plan before we even had a signed contract, because I think they see that I'm serious about this one, but also that, again, just not coming in, acting like I know everything, which when I don't. But I definitely would say the challenge is being able to get everybody on the same page. We got a technology portion of this company because we're building this technology, and all of that has to do with the general contractor and their work on how much voltage we need, electrical outlets, lighting, like how does the lighting going to affect the technology that's used with the pool table. So being able to manage all of these and make sure that the vision, everybody has the vision and a goal, and how do we achieve that is kind of like the biggest challenge right now.
And man, you what about going forward too? Like the first, do you have a date for when you're going to actually start hammering on things?
So we're supposed to start this month. I don't have a official date. We're supposed to start this month because we have to use these grant funds by the end of the year. So I actually reached out to that grant committee today to kind of see where we are with things. I believe it's in underwriting right now to be approved. And they will reach, and hopefully they'll get back to me by the end of this week to give me the green light to kind of have these guys go ahead and start working on the things that we have in the sources and uses document. So definitely sometime this month so we can finish up, but I don't have a date this month yet. Not of yet.
Okay.
Mhm.
Hey man, before we wrap up, we talked about perseverance. We've talked about, having a vision, sticking to it. Is there anything else that you would say to a would-be entrepreneur, some young man who's got a talent and a dream, just like you, that's wondering how to get off, how to get going? You got anything that you might want to, a little message for him right now?
Yeah, my message will be, before you invest your hard-earned dollars into something or your project, you got to make sure that you love the work that you do. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't love playing pool, if I didn't love filmmaking, if I didn't love business. And I think that's the first thing to realize with yourself is that you have to love it. And the way that you find out if you love it is that you do it for countless hours without getting paid. I played pool for 10 hours straight without getting paid. I've created my now 4 business ventures without earning a dollar. And it's just something that I love to do. And now fast forward, now I'm getting paid to do it. So I think that's the advice I give is like, you have to make sure that you love what you're doing. If you don't love it, I would try to find something else to do for sure.
And I'm going to add on to this too. Jonathan, you're an inspiration, man. And the reasons why you're at where you're at, in addition to loving what you do, you like learning. You love learning. That was apparent to me. Having to take on something new, having to dive into something that you're totally unfamiliar with, and get educated on a process or a product. You never slowed down. You never complained about it. There were times where you're like, damn, more? Okay, here we go. But you enjoy learning. And that is, I think, important for anybody who really wants to start off in a new venture, because look, there's no way to avoid it. You're either going to learn or you're going to sink. You're humble. That was another thing too. You mentioned it when you were working with these contractors. You didn't come on and you never let pride get in the way of the opportunity to learn or connect with somebody. You never pretended like you knew more than you did. You were completely open and honest and humble, and treated everybody very, very well throughout the process. And then there's, of course, the work ethic, man. And, you didn't say it, I'll say it. You clearly have a very solid work ethic. You never, ever let any of it deter you. If you mounted one obstacle, and you saw three more, and you just tightened your boots up and started climbing again. So those are the things about you that have gotten you this far. And, you maintain this, we've talked about this before. You maintain this attitude, you maintain this approach, and you will achieve all these things that you're setting out to do. And I tell you what, man, I can't wait to go visit this spot when it's built out, and, have some food from the kitchen, and maybe be honored by having you kick my ass in a game of pool, because I ain't no good at it, man. Dude, I really was honored and appreciated being a part of your project, and look forward to seeing what you got coming up in the future, man.
I appreciate that, Jonathan. It means a lot. And I thank you for having me on here today. I appreciate it. Yeah.
It's awesome. So look, everybody, I got Jonathan's website for his show down below. Check it out. It's cool, man. He's name some of the people whom you've interviewed and what they do, and that you play pool with on the show.
Yeah, my favorite episode was with Dr. Basson with Tri-C, the president of Tri-C. That was a very inspirational and educational episode. But we had some professional athletes on there, some artists from the Northeast Ohio. And yeah, it's just building. We're this season 2, we're gonna get our names, our guest list up higher. Not saying our first season was anything beneath, but we want to get more influencers on this season and continue to grow it.
Awesome. This is great, man. Dude, thank you very, very much for coming on Real Estate Bites. I appreciate you for a lot of reasons. This is just the latest of it, man. So take care of yourself, Jonathan. We'll talk soon.
I will. All right. Thanks, Jonathan.
Right. You got it. Bye-bye.